What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Alex CFV, and today we have a very daunting topic, let's say, to kind of cover. Is Vanguard the most overinflated TCG? So I'm not going to answer that question quite yet. I'm going to get through the video and then kind of give my opinion at the end. I just think it is important maybe to start covering this because we're at kind of like a crossroads where we're going to see, like, there's so many TCGs now that are coming out that are actually showing us that, like, they are viable. New kind of card games are viable with, you know, trusted IPs or not. There's just like a lot of hype in general, even post-COVID, post that whole like hype buyout collector kind of craze that Pokemon and, you know, the whole Jake Paul thing kind of started. But I believe in general, it is important to talk about it because as I was making this video, actually, it happened. Lorcana replaced Cardfight Vanguard on the TCG player page up here, which is not good. I know, like, Vanguard came on, then it came off, and went back on, so it's been like a whole kind of like, I guess, series with that. But in general, I think there are a lot of signs pointing to just a pretty bad state of the game right now in terms of being a consumer. So what really kicked this off for me was my own personal journey, I think. So I've been kind of playing some One Piece, I've been playing Digimon, and some Battle Spirits as well. I've been kind of just building decks and like playing, just having a good time with them in general. And like, I'm thinking to myself, because I was in the middle of making essentially a best like budget deck kind of video, so that will be coming. So or like the top 3 value decks in like every single category. I have to word it so it's not quite like budget, I guess, but it is so crazy to me how easy it is to get into some of these other games. And the ones I'm going to be comparing to are Battle Spirits, Digimon, and One Piece, because A, I've personally just kind of got into them, and then B, I feel like those are honestly the biggest competitors. Like, we're not Magic, we're not Pokemon, and we're not Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the scale is not there. I don't think it ever will kind of be there. Like, this is definitely a little bit more niche, and we're to the point now where, like, these other games are kind of blowing past Vanguard, and what do they do different and what do they do well? Like One Piece, for example, just had I think a 1,024 person like remote tournament or something. Their regionals are getting stacked. Like Digimon is still, I think, pretty healthy. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the competitive scene too well, but I'm always seeing results on like Eggman's channel, things like that, like Cosmic Plays. So go check them out as well. And yeah, Battle Spirits is really just, I think, taken off immediately. Obviously, there was a lot of cash injection from Bandai itself with the whole, like, you know, cash tournament prizing, which I think was a little scammy, but at the same time, like, I think the game is actually really fun. It's pretty cool. I kind of like the mechanics of it, and I think that they did something that just Bushiroad doesn't do right. So let's just first take a look at the sets, and I have to kind of just go through some of these other games just to show you and like level set your expectations and just give you a reference point if you're not familiar. So this is the False God set. It came out, I think, a week after what was it, after the Festival Collection for Vanguard. I know Festival Collection is kind of like not the greatest set to use as an example, but it's what is pretty current, and like 3 sets for these games kind of dropped around the same time. One Piece not as much, but I'll just get into that in a little bit. But basically what I'm showing you here, these over here, these X rares, right? They're kind of like the VRs or the chase triple rares of this set. All this stuff up here is like high rarity. Like it is what it is. Like I don't care about the price of high rarity. To me, the base price point of a game should be affordable. Like it really should. It shouldn't be a barrier of entry. And I get it, this is the second set for this Bandai set to come out for Battle Spirits, but at the same time, these are, you know, some of the top boss monsters, the top chase cards people are going after. We're seeing a couple dollars. I mean, 59 cents on this X rare. Is that great for sellers? I guess not, but there's a lot of people playing this game, and honestly, there's just as many listings as a lot of Vanguard cards. So why with these decks that are actually winning tournaments, like these aren't just rando cards that are like absolutely garbage. These are like the top tier competitive, you know, the chase stuff to get out of this set, and people are selling them for like $1. Like, it's so affordable to get into this game. And again, another X-ray. Like these, maybe that one's not as good, but there's just a lot of opportunity for so many different builds, so many different things going on, and like you can honestly build a deck for so cheap. Like for the amount, I could build one Vanguard deck. If I spent $150, let's say, I could probably build, you know, 4 out of the 5 maybe meta decks, 150 to 200 it probably costs in Vanguard. But in Battle Spirits, I could probably get like a playset of almost the entire set right here, and really just choose where I want to pivot from there. And same thing with like the first set. So I don't know if these are just like really busted kind of pull ratios, or a lot of people are just like hyping up the game, but you know, like I said, there's not that many more listings than there are typically for like a Vanguard set. So yeah, it's just really strange. And then next up over here, let's look at the new Digimon set, because that came out, I think this is the same day actually as Festival Collection. So over here, let's just look, where am I? I'm on the second page. Yeah, I just kind of blew past some of the high rarity stuff, which, by the way, like, I guess if we're gonna compare, it's not that crazy in general for the alt arts. And there is like that whole nostalgia factor here with that IP. A lot of people did play this. Omnimons are always a little expensive and stuff, but honestly, like, we're seeing these are extremely played cards. Like, these are cards that are just in the meta. They're like top tier, all that stuff. I'm gonna get to the Vanguard stuff at the very end, and just remember that point, that like, this is the good stuff. This isn't just like random stuff that like is hype or whatever it is and just gets bought out. Like Ravemon burst mode, you have to have the older Ravemon too, but like they're a couple dollars. Another War Gray things over here, like the box topper stuff's not too much. Shine Greymon burst mode is the best deck right now, and like, yeah, some of the other Shine Greymons like from past sets were a little more expensive now, a couple dollars, like $8, $12, whatever it is. But at the same time, like, when they came out, they were like the same price. Like, I love looking at TCG prices. It's just like one of the things I guess I like to do right before bed and stuff. I just like to scroll through different games. But I actually built like 4 decks out of this set for like, I don't even want to say the price. I'm just not going to say the price, because I'm gonna just get people annoyed and whatnot. But Belphemon Sleep Mode, Belphemon just won their big regional. We're looking at, what is it, $4 for that card for the main copy? Yeah, $5. Like, that is crazy. These are like the top meta cards that you can play right now, like the best stuff. And like, look how cheap everything is in this set. And like, that Shine Greymon is used, that Craniumon I don't think is, but like, all this stuff, like, the rarity is not crazy. You can build so many different decks for such an affordable price. And like, that's where I struggle with Vanguard, because like, I'm looking at this, I see a bunch of different things. Visually, I can just recognize it maybe from like my childhood. It's like a known IP. Okay, that's cool and all well. Like, all I have to do is search up like, Ravemon deck, like Belphemon deck. Like, there are so many deck profiles. There are so many different like avenues of getting into this game, and I mean, there's tons of listings for all these cards. Look at this over here. Like, people are opening these sets, so like, I feel like maybe the demand, maybe for Digimon, it's kind of an inverse of Vanguard, where like the demand maybe isn't as high. It's maybe higher at the top end, but like, people open this product apparently, and like, they list it, so it's very easy to kind of get into this game and just be like, okay, I want to build this deck. Like, how do I do it? And like, you're not hit by a paywall of like $60-$70 for your triggers alone. Like, it's, you're building the full deck for like less than that 90% of the time in that game. Also, probably the biggest game right now, I feel like I'm just seeing a lot of this everywhere. I like to play it. It's a cool game. Very big scene at my locals just like popped up. And honestly, it feels like a blend between like a Yu-Gi-Oh community and like a Vanguard community, where it's like somewhere in that middle point where it's still competitive but still really nice. And again, we're gonna go over this deck over here. So I mean, this set, because this came out, this is the closest one I can get just for a reference point. Again, all of these decks, all these sets kind of came out around the same time. This is maybe like a month and a half before, so it's not like the greatest example. But up towards the top, you have all of the alt art and stuff like that. Yeah, over here, this is probably the most expensive. This is a secret rare, so again, this is a really big chase card, but you're seeing $30. And again, this is a card that I believe the past weekend just won a regional also. This is like an auto include in all the yellow decks. The yellow decks are like the new thing out of this set. Like, it's a brand new thing, like color, so it is typically really popular on launch. Yeah, and you do see cards that are kind of expensive, but you can choose to run other things. You can choose to play other things. And like, even the most expensive, another super rare, even the most expensive kind of decks in this game, just for red and all that, like, they really don't reach the same prices as like the super hyped up, like, inflated Vanguard prices. And the thing is, it's like, at the end of the day, you have a lot of competition in this game. You have, like, I don't know, I feel like the prize cards, everything about it, just, I don't want to say that, use the word legit, but it feels more meaningful. I feel like the community seems to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more active. I feel like in Vanguard, it's not the same. Like, you're not playing for the same stakes, so to speak. And like, you can just see, we're blazing through this set, and like, things are super cheap. You can build, it might not be the greatest right now, but like Iceberg, look at the Ascent. There's so much supply for this game right now. And like, people are opening this. Like, there's just so much supply for this set. So like, One Piece, Digimon, Battle Spirits, like, clearly people wouldn't order that stuff and like open product if they didn't anticipate people buying it. Like, there's a ton of sellers in that game. And what's the issue with Vanguard over here? So like, again, we're looking at the top ends. Let's blow past that. Boom, first one right over here. All of those games have one format. They do not have legacy formats or anything like that. So that is one thing. Also, they do have the same like tribal system where it's like a nation. You know, there's red in Digimon, and like what is it, One Piece. There is, you know, same thing in Battle Spirits. You can mix things up a little bit more, like Magic in Battle Spirits, to an extent, the other two games as well. But Vanguard started with the clan system where there's 24, and it was super tribal. It was like a super tribal game in both V and Premium. Now we're going to switch over to Overdress, which has been out over 2 years now. You know, the game is hitting not a maturity point, but it's, you know, it's progressed. It's like it's supposed to hit its stride at this point, and like, no pun intended. We're just seeing a complete, I don't know, I don't want to call it a failure in the nation system, in the sense that there are two formats legitimately that you have to purchase Overdress cards for. So not only are you trying to compete with, you know, you personally, let's say I play Dragon Empire, right? I have to go and buy, or, you know, Lyrical, I have to go and buy Eureka for pretty much every legitimate Lyrical Monasterio deck. I have to buy, you know, the same triggers, the effect triggers, this, that. And if you're somebody like me, I like the double sleeve stuff. I like the art cards. It's just like part of it for me. I love like the anime characters and whatnot. Having decks where you have to shift things out is like kind of annoying. It's actually really annoying for me. I don't like it. I like to buy multiple copies, and it's just not possible really with Vanguard's prices. Vanguard has kind of taken this nation system and made it so that, yeah, you might get a playset of a triple rare, but like, guess what? Like, we're creating so many ride lines where you need to swap that one playset of $44 Eureka's between 3-4 different clans. Like, 3 or 4 different decks. Like, it's just such a weird, and like, it feels like a predatory practice at this point that you're including like absolute staples at such a limited kind of range. And I get it, like, the product has to sit, like, they felt betrayed from V Series. People, like, you know, sellers didn't want to buy in, and that's like another topic too. Like, sellers, there's just not as many listings in general as some of these other games. Like, when we're seeing like maybe 50 to 60 or whatever on some things, you know, 35 is not bad, things like that. Like, these are starting to come back down. They're starting to come back down into like reality, I guess, and finally there's some supply. But like, on launch, these things were really, really expensive. I covered them in my market watch videos, which if you guys haven't seen already, definitely go check them out on the channel. And if you do like this content, all this style of content, just make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Really trying to hit 2K before the end of the year, so thank you in advance. But there's just not the same level of sellers, and I feel like it's just way more accepted in Vanguard. It's way less competitive for sellers, so it's more accepted to just be like, okay, something got bought out for the reasonable price. Nobody else is gonna really fill in within a decent amount of time. Like, let me just price gouge. And for example, like these over here, the Halbays, I guess there's one listing for back here, but you know, I got 30, it was around that price anyway. It's not like he's gouging. I don't know who this is, Elemental Paladin, but somebody's gonna swoop in and like just start charging $40 to $50. And we saw this with the promos when they initially came out. Like, there just wasn't enough supply. It was a really bad distribution system. Like, they've apologized, but they've really not done enough. Like, this is not a healthy reprint. This is 2 per case. So if you spend $800, you wouldn't even get a full printing of a promo that's a year old at this point, or it's a couple months old, whatever it is. You wouldn't get a place out of Eureka. You wouldn't get a place of Ameline over here. Let's talk about this. So I talked about in the Digimon stuff, and you know, all of the other games essentially, that meta cards are not that much. Like, it might be a supply thing where like the demand is way lower than the supply at this point, but I don't think that's the case. People are buying it. You see way more volume for their games. There's way more scale in general. And what really hurts us here is this is a card that is seeing absolutely no meta play. This is a card that, again, was part of this like horrendous promo kind of circuit that they did. And this card is a $40 card. On launch, when the set came out, you can get it for about $20, which even that, to me, is overinflated. This is so crazy. Like, this is not seeing meta play. This is something that's been out for months. This is like absolutely insane. This is so overinflated, it's not even funny. And I feel that way about a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, Eureka can be competitive, but you don't need it. Like, there's other decks that still compete within the meta, even though Willista might be the best. This too, like, this is pure speculation. This $24 is pure speculation. This is one of the better, actually probably the best new of the grade 3s that we did get over here. Whoops, sorry about that. But essentially $24 for this. Like, this is crazy, and they're a good seller too. Like, I'm not trying to say anything about triple sleeve. Like, I get it. Like, demand has skyrocketed for this since Bastion kind of got announced, but at the same time, why is this small niche game getting so expensive when we don't have, I guess, like the same heights to play for. Like, I get it's BCS season around the corner, but we don't have as many regionals. We don't have like the same competitive circuit in general. I feel like the competitive scene for this, is kind of just a little more casual. Like, I don't know. I feel like these prices aren't healthy for this game. Like this shouldn't be, this level of game shouldn't have this level of pricing. And I know people say like, oh, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Like, I get that, but I want more people to play this game because, again, it is niche, it is small. I don't think it's like, you know, it's not at its peak. Like, I really think that people would like, I love this game, I love playing it, I love the play style. Like, doesn't matter what else I play, like this is still going to be my main game. I just like, there's something about the trigger system, there's just, you know, my social interactions with my locals. Like, I've established like a really good friend group from it, and like it's just the best game for me. But at the same time, like, I want to see that like there be like a healthy equilibrium. Like, even the regular, like the essentially common cards, any other set, for example, that we were in already, like for the other 3 games, if we got to the 3rd page, you're talking about, let's go to the 3rd page. Oops, let me close this one over here. Let's go to the 3rd page here, just for a reference point here. Everything here is cents, right? Everything in this one, and again, it might not be the best example because this is festival collection, ratios were kind of shot, but everything is still $2 kind of and up. That's just really, really crazy. But let's go to like a regular set, just as the same example here. Talking about Battle Spirits again, nothing came. Let's just see the first triple rare. What's the first triple rare we see over here? All high rarity, high rarity. I get it, it's fine. High rarity, charge as much as you want. All right, Spiral Cutie Angel here. Maybe this is for Bastion Hype, maybe this is for some other stuff, but like, again, it falls into that, like, the nation stuff creates this false sense of just demand where there really isn't any, and just like a priority gets put on these cards. Somebody comes up with the idea, like, let me buy it out, let me raise the floor again, and that's just boom, the market price is then established around there. Like, Spiral Cutie Angel, $10 when it came out, still a little expensive for a staple card that essentially needs to go in like most Keter decks at this point, I would say. It's just crazy. This is now $22. Same thing with like, I don't know, like, how do I tell a new player, like, hey, like, go buy Ava, go buy this, go buy that, and like, by the way, like, here's this like generic card that needs to be slotted in. That's gonna cost you an extra like $48 or whatever. Like, I could just go tell you to build an entire One Piece deck, an entire Digimon deck, maybe even 2, a Battle Spirits deck for, you know, half that price, a quarter that price, like maybe that price, like for just a playset of these over here. Like, that's insane. Like, this is really weird. Like, I don't know, like $4 for a triple rare, I get it. Like, the ratios are terrible. The reprints that they've done are absolutely terrible. And it's such a polarizing thing because, like, you can open the set, and if you open on the top end, like, sure, you're pretty good. But buying boxes, I think it was like 20 packs. I feel like every other TCG that I just went over there, all the Bandai ones, they have more packs in the boxes. The boxes are supposed to be a little more expensive, but overall, it's never really how it pans out. You have this like super polarizing set where like there's a couple cards up at the top end, but the same style of cards for others. Like, this is still a cycler. This is a cycler for Stoichia. It's $1, you know. I hit the boss unit of this deck, one of the, you know, the main boss units of this deck, and it's $1. So, and there's still 54, 57. Like, I guess people are opening this stuff. It's just like not really wanted. And I feel like it's not like the game isn't balanced right now or anything. I just feel like there's this hype machine in Vanguard that is absolutely insane, and it truly does inflate the price of these cards. Like, the payoff or the benefit, just like the value of these cards, in my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion, like, you don't have to agree with it necessarily. Let me know your thoughts down below, of course, but I don't think this is a $22 card. I don't think, you know, these over here getting reprinted essentially again, I don't know, $12. It's just very difficult to tell a new player, hey, get into this game. Like, by the way, it's super expensive for this like niche game that like you should be trying to invite people into. So I don't know, I feel like we still haven't hit that middle grounds between like buyer and seller. I understand the sellers in the community. I've seen it, people express opinions that, you know, obviously the old printing product sat on shelves, it was too cheap, this and that. Like, me as a player, of course I want that, but I also want the game to survive. But, you know, there has to be another middle ground. I feel like there might be more demand now, and especially when you create cards that are like so generically interwoven into every single archetype, like maybe you can bump this down to a triple rare and kind of achieve that $8 price range, which is still expensive, but like I think that this game is just way inflated. Like, look at the entirety of this set. Like, we're again onto page 4. Like, these are cards that aren't really being played, and they're still like $1. I feel like $1 around there is kind of like the floor for these. I guess it gets a little cheaper over here, which is good, but overall kind of crazy. So let me know your thoughts. I personally believe that with Lorcana now taking our spot over here, I feel like the headlights are on a little bit, or are on Vanguard a bit. Like, what are we doing here? What's the future really holding? So again, something has to kind of break, something has to kind of change, in my opinion, and we'll see what it is. So is Vanguard overinflated right now? Short and sweet answer, yeah, I think it is. Is it a bad game? Absolutely not. I really enjoy the meta right now. I really enjoy playing all 3 formats personally. I know not everybody's kind of on that same train, but yeah, it's just really difficult. It's just kind of opened my eyes when I built a couple of these other decks and other sets, and like, yeah, you can tell me there's some expensive cards for sure. Like, again, a hobby is a hobby. It doesn't have to be cheap. These people, like, you know, they print money essentially, but it's tough as a new player, somebody who's trying to get into TCGs, you know, because everyone starts off in Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, or Pokemon. It's like, what other alternate kind of thing? Oh, Digimon is so much cheaper, Battle Spirits is so much cheaper, cash tournaments, this, that, you know, big regionals, more coverage. It's just, what is Vanguard doing aside from the gameplay at this point? I feel like, what are they doing differently enough to kind of entice new players and like keep their old players around? Because this is turning out to be a very expensive TCG. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you did enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Definitely helps me out. Thank you guys so much. This is Alex from Alex CFE signing out.